Welcome to the Conch Republic News Network on Thursday, July the 9th, 2020. And my special guest here is Luigi Terracina, Captain Tony's oldest son. We're going to get to some really cool stories today. It's an honor to have him here with us for the broadcast today. Good friends with Lou and with his son Keith. So we have some really cool stories to share with you guys. First, I want to hit some news. The big news of the day: Fantasy Fest 2020 is officially canceled. Canceled for the first time since its inception 30 years ago. This would have been, I believe, the 31st year of Fantasy Fest.
Yeah, I was there for day one.
Day one.
In fact, day one.
Wow.
I said to my dad, "What's going on? There's the parade coming down the street." He said, "I don't know, bunch of guys in the pier house. They're having a Fantasy Fest." 30 years later, look at it.
Look at it, yeah.
30 years later, and they're canceling it.
So you remember from the first year all the way through. That is awesome. We do have some good news, and I've shared a little bit with you guys already. You know, everything's been closed and open and closed and open, and nobody knows what's open or closed. You almost need a tote board running on what's open and closed these days. But Blue Heaven and Salute, for those guys who love those guys, that they own both of those restaurants. Salute is over on Higgs Beach. They're back open after being closed for months. The Hog's Breath is back open finally after they were open and closed down again because they had someone tested positive, so they deep cleaned the joint, and now they're back open again. And Shanakey, our friends over at Shanakey are back open for business. All right, so that's the main news of the day. Obviously, Fantasy Fest is the one that's the big kick in the pants because, you know, the main thing, it's obviously the safe and the right thing to do, but the economic hit that the town's going to take not having Fantasy Fest is really going to be felt.
Yeah, I'll tell you, there's more ways than one.
Duval Street's already, taking it on the chin, and that's one that people that literally is a make or break for some businesses.
Yeah.
You know, every year they look for that Fantasy Fest money to pay them for a few months.
Well, the whole good thing about this bug going around is we got our streets squared away.
We paved Duval Street for the first time. You don't ever remember Duval Street.
Got no potholes no more.
But now, back when you first came to Key West, that was all brick.
Let me tell you, it was dirt. Horses dirt. No, I'm just kidding.
But it was brick back in the day, right?
Yeah, we had to get the bricks from the ships. That's what they did.
Oh, okay.
The ballast. And they brought it there and they made roads out of it.
Ballast stones.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll jump into your story, and I kind of want to give people the contrast on what people come down here on vacation in Key West. They have no idea what it used to be like and what it was like. And you always hear people saying they come in the tasting room and they'll drink. They'll be like, "Oh man, what I wouldn't give to go back in the day." And experience what it was like. So just to give a little background on you, you're 83 this year, right?
84.
84.
84.
When was your birthday?
March 3rd.
March. So you just turned 84. And then your son Keith, my friend, because there's 20-year difference, right?
20 years,
He's
right.
63. Mm-hmm. Going to be turning 64.
Right.
Pretty soon.
That's what makes me old. I got a son, 64 years old.
64-year-old son. I couldn't imagine. So now you guys are originally from Italy.
Right.
From Terracina, Italy.
Right, the town of Terracino, right.
Terracino, Italy.
Right.
Okay. Now, were you born in the U.S. or were you born?
No, I was born here. I was born in New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
Elizabeth. Yeah.
Okay, so the family, your dad and your uncle and your grandfather and all them, they came over from Italy and settled in New Jersey. Right. And there's some speculation on what the last name was. It originally wasn't Terracino or Terracina, either one, back when they came over. It was a different last name. Some people say Costello. You said there's maybe another one that could have been a last name, and we'll get to why that's important.
Really. When they got off the boat, people couldn't read and write. My grandparents, and they had no name. Where are you from? I'm from Terracino, or this name, and these people just wrote down, I guess, what they wanted to write down.
Yeah.
So that's what I have no recollection of that. I just don't know. Costello, I heard when I was a kid. They had a sister, adopted sister, my uncle to my father, and I believe she was a Costello, but I'm not sure. So it's something we don't know. I guess we're never going to know.
Is she still around? Do you have any contact with her?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
So, and you were saying earlier that that you're one of 12 kids,
right?
That Captain Tony had.
Yes.
And and you're the firstborn, so you're the oldest. So at some point in time, the story is that Captain Tony had some mob connections up in New Jersey and got into some trouble up there, and that's the reason he came down to Key West originally, was to run. He was running from the mob,
Right.
and was hiding. And the story that I heard from Keith was that someone had told Captain Tony back in the day, if you ever want to disappear, Key West is the place to go. Of course, this was before internet, and
Probably,
you couldn't track somebody down.
I believe that. Believe me, my
This was the
father
end of the
was
world.
always in trouble with somebody. We'd get a knock on the door. My mother, she always had a baseball bat. She was a tough Pollock. She always had a baseball bat. She didn't know what the hell who was at the door. You know, your husband owes me this, or your husband owes me that.
A gambling debt or something.
That's exactly what it was. He loved his action. To the day he died, I had to drag him up to Key Largo to get him on a gambling boat, and he loved it. He loved playing cards. He loved the action. I seen him win $500,000 in a slot machine. It's 1 o'clock at night. I got to drive all the way from Key Largo back here. He would say, "Come on, we got time to make highlight." I'm not going to Miami.
The dog track. He loved the dog track too.
Loved the dog track. He had his own name, his own platter. Captain Tony driving there.
I don't know if it's a good thing to have your own parking space at the dog track. That means you're spending too much.
Yeah, you're VIP. But when he hit the horses, he'll go right down the line and give everybody a $5 tip. Everybody that's working there, you know, they love the old man.
Yes.
They loved, and people hated him, but that's the way it was.
Yeah, but ultimately, it's a very rich character.
Yeah,
He had a lot going on.
He had a lot of clay. He put that tuxedo on, boy. I'll tell you, he was Captain Tony.
Wow. I would say that he's probably lived 10 lifetimes worth probably in his life.
He didn't miss anything. Believe me.
Didn't miss a single thing. Everybody, it's no secret that he loved the ladies. And
They loved him.
They loved him
They
too.
loved him. They went after him. He didn't have a chance.
I've seen pictures of him sitting in the bar with the oxygen.
Yeah.
On his nose and with girls on both sides.
I'm telling you, he would. Geez, the husband would say, "Geez, you take a picture with my wife, and she'll get alongside my dad. He got the air here, and he'll reach around to grab her breast." And his husband's over there. Oh, click, 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 click.
Cap Tony grabbed my wife's boobs. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Quite the lifestyle there. So now when Captain Tony came down here, you were still back in New Jersey.
I was in New Jersey.
And then at some point in time, you got fed up with being in New Jersey around 16 years old.
Yeah, 16, sure.
I'm heading to Key West to see my
going
dad.
to Key West. He was a shrimper. I'm saying, damn, that's for me. Greyhound bus. Took that Greyhound bus down here, Route 1. It took me forever to get here with that Greyhound bus.
So you took it all the way from New Jersey all
the way down.
Wow.
All the way down.
And you were saying when you got into the Keys, the marathon was like just a one
marathon was what it was. There were railroad cars there. And I guess a big farm country then, And drove all the way. The last lot I seen was Homestead. Next time I seen any kind of light was in Marathon, because there was a gas station there, and we stopped there for water, whatever the hell it was. And next stop was Key West. So I got off the Greyhound, right off to Val Street, went down the alleyway, and Christ, there was Navy all over the place, and I guess they were shrimpers. I don't know, at the time I didn't know what the hell was going on, and then Captain Tony's there. "Dad, how you doing?" Big hug. He says, "Listen, I'm leaving for a 5-day shrimp trip. I'm gonna bring it to the eating house. I'm gonna let you stay there. You behave yourself. You be there." "Yeah, Dad, no problem. Give me $20 bill."
Don't leave the room.
And Key West, don't leave the room, right.
Now, is this the Eden House that's over on Fleming Street, right?
Well, it's
Or is it a different one?
It's a different one,
Oh,
right.
Because we have one on Eden House now, or Eden House that's here now.
Yeah,
So he takes off, and then you
he
decide
takes off, and here I am in a room, you know,
$20 in your hand.
$20 in my hand. So I hit the street, and being I was 16, 17 years old, I had a short hair. I was sailor. I was military. I mingled right in with them. Went into the bars, had a beer. I've never had a beer in my life, you know. Had a beer there, have a beer here.
So your first beer was 16 years old in Key West.
In Key West.
Do you know what bar that was?
Sloppy Joe's.
Sloppy Joe's. All right.
Where else? Yeah, that was the place. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting there, bought a drink, and here she comes. Carmencita.
Carmencita.
I never forget this woman's name in my life. She was drinking Virginia Dare wine in a shot glass. I was paying for shots, I guess. I don't know. So,
Shots of wine.
I know it's a wine, but you know, what the hell did I know what was wine and what was whiskey?
So was she working the streets, or what do you think?
She was working the bar.
Working the bar, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was. I believe she was a local there. I mean, that was her place because she got almost in a fist fight with another chick. Because the other chick was moving on me. She knew I had $20.
So you're a hot commodity at this
Hot
point.
tamale. So we left and we went to her place. Mentioned the address because today, 50 years later, it don't mean the damn thing. It was 815 Duval Street. Never forget that address. 84 years old, and I still remember that beautiful woman, I'm telling you.
She must have been something.
Oh,
So a Cuban lady?
yeah, well, certainly.
Certainly.
Beautiful. Beautiful, just beautiful.
So that was literally when people say there is such a thing as love at first sight.
I was in love, believe me. Believe me. I kept going, Bucks. You ain't got no money. I'm sorry.
So $20 soon ended up being no dollars.
Right. So now the next day or 2 days later, I'm walking around Duval Street. I mean, the whole town was different to what it is today. Where Tony's bar was, that was nothing but field, and the ocean was there. It wasn't too far away. Then you had Maury Square, which I walked over there. And they had holes in between the boards. And I'm looking down and I see this big silver fish. And I'm saying, what the hell is that? I'm used to catching fish in New Jersey, little goldfish. And, you know, all of a sudden I see this monster. The shrimp boat tied up a ways down. So I go over there and I'm trying to get some line. I want to catch this fish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a fisherman, man. So, I get some green line, I got a fishing hook, gave me a couple shrimp heads. Hook that, put it down, I'm looking at the fish, I put it down there. Oh, I take 2 or 3 wraps in my hand. Real smart.
Underestimated the size of this fish.
Yeah, I'm gonna like them out of the ocean, you know, and have a good meal. So anyway, he finally hits and he takes off, and I grab down and my hand start that line just, and I grab the line with my other hand and I'm pulling. It's a good thing I didn't know how to tie knots. The thing broke loose.
It broke loose.
But my hand was sore for 2 weeks, believe me.
So now I thought that was interesting because Mallory Square now is all concrete.
Yeah,
So
right.
Back then it was a wharf.
Yeah, it was
a
just
wood wharf.
beat up old, you know, holes in it, and yeah.
And that's where the shrimp fleet would come in and tie up. It was a working
there.
dock.
Yeah, it sure was.
So they weren't having sunset celebrations and all that kind of stuff.
No. Well, no. They had a one boat that would probably come in from Cuba that would pull in there where the glass bottom boat does. So the only activity there when this boat comes in, all these kids would be on the wharf, and these tourists will throw money in the ocean, in the bay there where the boat docks, and these kids are diving off, going to the bottom and getting the money. Yeah, it was really interesting, you know. Really was, yeah.
And of course, Sunset Pier wasn't there, and Ocean Key Resort wasn't there.
No, and the pier house was nothing but a house then. That's all it was. That started. Look at it now.
So the pier house was a guest house, right?
It was a house. That's all I know. I don't know what the guest house.
And then it had that had the chart room. Was the chart room there then?
No,
Or was it before
no.
the chart room?
Oh yeah, way before.
There's a
You know,
significance.
we're talking
to that.
we're talking 1953, 54. I mean, my God, you know, none of these places were here. Captain Tony was here in Sloppy Joe's. There was no bowl. There was no. Yeah.
Yeah. So what? So Duval Street looked entirely different back then. It wasn't full of bars. Back
No,
then.
no bar here, a bar there. It was a town when the summertime comes. The dogs would be sleeping in the middle of Duval Street, and the people walking in the cars will drive around. There was no tourism here at all. It was a sponge town and a fisherman town. That's all it was.
Sponging and fishing.
That's what it was.
No cruise ships.
And conch. No cruise ships.
None of that kind
no.
of stuff.
No.
It's quite a stark contrast from what it is today.
Unbelievable.
Now I know that there's a place called the Full Moon Saloon.
Oh
back in
yeah,
the day.
definitely.
There was
sure.
something called something Last Chance. That was down on Front Street.
Last Chance Saloon.
Last Chance Saloon that was down there. I'm just going for some old pictures and things. That
Yeah.
I think the Red Doors was probably
Red
around.
Doors. Yeah, that was a hot place for shrimpers, boy. I'll
Was
tell
it?
you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But there was a rough and
they
tumble.
had a little short doors up there, you know, and the Red Doors.
Now it's a boutique. So
Yeah.
for those of you guys who
Sure,
don't know, down on
why not?
on Caroline Street, there's a place called the Red Doors, which back in the day was an old,
Right,
old
Caroline,
saloon.
right. Then you had Pepe's that just moved from Duval Street. Pepe's was you walk in there, you put a nickel down, and they had a pot stove there. You grab the pot of coffee, pour yourself a cup, you leave the nickel there, and
For a nickel.
sit down. Yeah,
Beautiful.
these are the fishermen. You know, that's what it was.
Wow, what a and that's I think that's what a lot of people when they come to Key West, that's what they like to think about is how things were back before it was a tourist.
They wish they were here.
They wish they
Believe
were
me.
here when all
Yeah.
that was going on because you pretty much were at the end of the world at that point in time, as far away from
This was the king.
real America.
Right. Everybody here has a story. Believe me.
Pretty amazing. So you're
Years
down here.
ago.
You're down here at 16, and then at some point, you end up going back up to New Jersey.
Well,
Part of
yeah,
the
what
family.
happened? My dad got off the boat and he says, Lou, I said, how you doing? I said, so, Dad. He said, well, we're going to take a ride up to Miami. I'll put you on a plane to go home. I said, great. He said, you still got that money? I said, oh, yeah, Dad. So I go, he said, let me see it. So I go in my pocket, but naturally, I got fish hooks there. I can't pull my hand out, you know. He said, what'd you do? Somebody told me you were at the bar and you were with some lady. But being Tony, what the fuck's he gonna say? Whoop, wrong word.
Oh, no
You
worries.
know, what the hell is he gonna say? Sure, he just looked at me.
It's like father, like son.
Yeah, and gave me hell from here to Stock Island. That's all. It was over with.
He was probably a little proud of you. But he had a little tear in his eye. He's like, man, my son. That's pretty awesome. So then, fast forward to when did you come back to Key West? You had a family and all that kind of stuff. Then
Yeah.
what year did you move back down?
I moved here in the 70s,
In the
early 70s. Me and a woman I escaped with from New Jersey. That's what it was.
I see a pattern developing here.
Yeah.
So you and her.
How many
basically-
people got a father and say, geez, I'd like to be like Dad? I was so open about it. I mean, Christ almighty, you know? So, yeah, right. So we're here.
So that had to be a whirlwind romance. You're like, let's just go down to Key West and start a life down there.
How innocent my wife was. How innocent. We're married now, matter of fact. How innocent my wife was. We're on the plane. She goes, where's the propellers? I'm saying, honey, this is a jet plane. She never been on a plane. She didn't know anything.
Wow.
Yeah. Hate to say it about my wife. She's 87 and she's doing fine. She really
Wow,
is. She
that is
got a little
awesome.
problems like people get when they get old, you know.
But she was excited to come down, I guess, obviously.
She was excited to get out of Elizabeth.
I got you. So now you guys are down in the 70s, and this is
Right
this
now,
is the height of all the crazy shit's going on.
oh
Right?
my
The
God!
drugs are flowing
You,
through Key
and
West.
then my son, Dad, you think I could come down for a week or two? Big mistake. I said, yeah, Keith, come on down. Love to see you.
Uh-huh.
And then the rest is history. My God, this has opened up Pandora's box to Keith, you know.
Yeah.
So Keith worked. He was a photographer for the newspaper, right? He did
Yeah,
a lot of
he
photography.
worked that. He worked the bar. He was a bar man. And yeah, he at the end of the day he would have a bag, not money, but he'd have a bag full of every kind of drug you could think of in there.
So when you moved down here in the '70s, then your dad already had Captain Tony's Saloon going at that
Yeah,
point.
oh yeah,
So
full blast.
things are full
blast,
fledged going on, that
right.
kind of stuff. So this is kind of where most people probably pick up, is they probably were down here in the '70s or '80s or '90s and kind of knew, what a cool place that was. Obviously, your dad is the person that made the bar. His presence in the bar is what made it what it was, and all the stuff that could go on there.
Listen,
and
he
then,
made Key West the way he was. I'll tell you,
amazing times to be alive back then. Even the stories that Keith was talking about, just the people down there.
People would be lined up outside the bar just to get in. We had to let people out the back door and then bring some in. I mean, it was just.
And it was known for top entertainment and stuff.
He had the best. He had the best there were around. Believe me. Juckanews and oh yeah, there's so many.
That brings us a little bit into the connection with your dad and Jimmy Buffett. So Jimmy Buffett, from my understanding, was working down at the chart room at the Pier House, and your dad hung out down there. And at some point in time, he said, "Son, you got talent. I want you to come play at my place." So he gave him his first break. So by all accounts, your dad gets the credit for discovering Jimmy Buffett, so to speak.
He was in New Orleans. He was so, but he needed something else, so he come to Key West, and then he met Tony, and I used to sit at the bar and bullshit with him about New Orleans and about the music he does. He had a beer or two. One point I seen him put the case down. And somebody go by and throw a buck in it. Holy Christ, this works? I'm saying, yes. Hey.
Just open the guitar case. And
what can I tell you? Yeah, another buck, always worth $5. And he was throwing away in his guitar. And then he started writing. And Tony kind of gave him the word about this mango and tires. And this is true. And Buffett put the rest together. He needed that spark, he needed that word.
And your dad was considered the last mango in paradise.
Right.
He had the distinct honor of being the last mango. Matter of fact, the headlines in the newspaper when he died was the last mango in paradise has died.
Yeah, I talked to Jimmy. My dad died, and he explained why he's not coming down, because it'd be too much Jimmy Buffett coming to the funeral. The crowds would have been outrageous.
It was already outrageous.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. You guys, you weren't around for the
No, we weren't around for the parade.
You should have been here.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures and the parade and the people everywhere.
It was fantastic.
Celebration of life kind of thing is really
right. And then they released these doves. And where do you think the doves go? 2 doves fly around, they land on top of the bar. They land on top of the roof of the bar. Oh my God. The old people go, oh, they're on my nose.
That's crazy.
It's true. They fired a cannon. I think it broke 10 windows in the neighborhood.
Out with a bang.
Out with a bang, right.
Out with a bang. And we could probably spend hours just going on about all the crazy stuff in the bar and all that kind of thing.
For sure.
And then also, Tony was really good friends with Mel Fisher. Mel Fisher, who discovered the Etosha. Has the Mel Fisher Museum down here. Of course, he's dead now, but I know they were fast friends and hung out quite a bit.
What happened? My dad's outside the bar, standing there, which he does all the time when he was here, slow, and Mel pulls up in a wagon with his whole family and his gear in the back. And he's
the old station wagon, right?
Yeah, with station wagon, and they're shooting the shit back and forth. And my father says, "Hey, you kids want a Coke?" He gave the kids Coke. And he gave Tony, his wife at the time, a drink. And that's where the friendship started. And he was here, the treasure hunt. And that's all he had to say to my father, because my father just found a big cannon, a cannon from God knows how many years old. And I don't know how the hell they got it out of the ocean, but they did. And then he had it underneath his boat. And that's what turned Mel on all the way with Treasure Salvage. And they were friends. Matter of fact, the last couple days, he called my father. Went to the house, and what they bullshitted about, I don't know, it was probably something really good, or, you know, something with some humor to it.
Right.
And that was it, you know, with Mel Fisher. I went to the funeral. And he went out in the blaze too. You wouldn't believe the people that showed up.
Yeah. And he accomplished quite a, you know, he's what, over 30 years it took him to find the attention.
30 years. You know what it cost that man? It cost the death of his family.
Yeah. His son died when a boat sank. They were out over the wreck in the middle of the night. There was two boats out there. One of the boats sank, and his son and
it flipped over. His girl Angel. Yeah. And he paid the price for the treasure.
Some people say that was the curse, right? They had to pay that price in order to be able to find
Well, I'm not superstitious, but some things I believe. I really do.
Yeah.
And
then he found it.
He found it. He really found it. His dream. He found it.
Today was the day.
How many people have a dream that can find their dream? You know,
and not give up in 30 years.
Don't give up, right.
And there was about 1 million opportunities for him to just quit looking. You know, but he never gave up the fight. I guess at some point it becomes an obsession.
Well, I think it's time for a shot of Smugglers right there. I hope you have yours, good man. I don't know, I think the bottle's getting kind of loose here.
Well, we got more bottles, so we're not worried about that.
Okay, well then I'm going to top this one off.
We can get down here to the bottom.
So look, how's it going, you think?
I think it's going great. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Well, you guys could cut whatever you want to cut out. That's what you do. I watch a lot of television.
There's really not the time that we need to really go over everything, because there's about 10 million stories. So I was kind of wanting to highlight on the main ones.
Okay.
Kind of my next, we talked about Jimmy Buffett, and we talked about Mel Fisher, and now we're going to get into a little bit of Tennessee Williams.
Right.
So Tennessee Williams we talked earlier, was more of got more famous after he died than when he was alive.
Well, he was famous for the Glass Menagerie, and he wrote a book. What's his name? Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando, the actor?
Brando. Yeah, he did the part of Stella.
Right.
I shouldn't say that. Well, you trying to fucking kill me with that?
And then, so Tennessee Williams was also an actor, right? Or a playwright, or he did a lot of different things, right? Tasty whiskey, huh? So he was a player. In Key West there is a theater named after Tennessee Williams, the Tennessee Williams Theater. Obviously, most people know who Tennessee Williams is now, but that's
where the college is.
Where the out on the out by the college,
right? The Tennessee Williams.
And him and your dad were really good friends. They gambled together. They played cards together. They hung out. He hung out at Captain Tony's a lot. They'd be up playing cards, from what I understand, upstairs.
They went upstairs. That's where they went. Yeah. But the way I said that, he wasn't much of a gambler. He was just happy being there with friends. Because in them days you were gay, it
wasn't cool.
It wasn't cool until Tony turned around and his bar was gay for 4 or 5 years.
I didn't know that. So that actually.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, it was gay. And then he brought the drag queens down. I mean, he did a lot for this town. I'm telling you, he was the first one with T-shirts.
Right.
They said at Mandela, when he got out of prison, there was 2 bodyguards with Captain Tony shirts on. Which I ain't gonna say that, but they're crock of shit, I think.
No, I've seen your dad in that shirt that says
Brains.
God is coming and boy is he pissed.
That was
Jesus is coming and boy is he
that
pissed.
was a great shirt.
So was that his shirt he came up with?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. Let me tell
And
you.
he sold those in the bar, right?
He saw him at the bar. Let me tell you a little story about them fucking shirts. He makes the shirts with his picture in the front, and in the back it has "Women's Live. Let him sleep on a wet spot." These are tank tops. So the bro would walk in, beautiful husky. He says, "Honey, what would you give me for this shirt?" They peel right off, take their shirt off for it. So what he does, he gets a hold of the girls' softball team in the high school, and he gets them all these T-shirts.
Oh Lord.
Now, the game, here comes the girls running out with these shirts. Right back at them with the mothers, ready to fucking kill them. Tony did shit, man, that. I said, Dad, you can't fucking do that. Wait a minute, they look great, didn't they? I said, yeah, they look great.
There's no such thing as bad marketing, right?
There you go. There you go. There you go. Did you ever get a hold of Al Kelly, the lawyer?
I've heard of him, yes.
No, really. Al was a big part of this whole thing too. You know, he's pretty cool dude, Al. He loved the old man. He loved to sit down with Tony and talk for hours in his office. Al Kelly, remember that name?
Yeah. He's an attorney here in town.
Yeah.
Still practicing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
He said anytime you guys got a problem, the Terracina's, and I mean it. I went to him a couple times. Never charged us. Never charged me a dime.
Wow, how awesome.
Somewhere down the line, the old man had to get him. The old man gets everybody that loves him. But you're happy that he got you.
You're just probably glad to be part of the story, I bet, at some point, you know?
Yeah, right. He was in charge of all the shirts and everything. And my old man was so smart. And on the other hand, he was so dumb. He missed out on so much. But it's all right. He lived the life he did. I said, Dad, you know, I could be a millionaire. He could have bought that whole block. That whole fucking block for like $300,000 with $100,000 down. That's fucking ridiculous. Jesus Christ. And he had the money. He had the $100,000. Shirley says,
Wow.
Shirley says, buy it. Are you crazy? Buy it. Nah. Gamble it away.
Didn't want the hassle.
He sold the bar. He got like 40, 50 grand under the table. Sold the bar for $250,000. In 5 years, he was broke. But that's my father, you know.
And at some point, he became the mayor of Key West.
There you go.
He
How's that?
runs for mayor. You got this guy who was in the mafia, came down from the mafia, was a gambler, womanizer, you know, all of these things that, you know, are typically anti what you would expect a politician to be, runs for mayor of Key West and wins. And is the mayor of Key West. You had to be sitting there going, what in the hell?
You're kidding me. From